Hello good day viewers. In this tutorial we are going to express tan ratio in terms of cosine ratio in the fourth quadrant. Let's get started with the solution. I'm going to present you three different ways to do that, and we are going to start with the first one. Let's start from this important identity: sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. This is always true. But we know that dividing sine by cosine will give us tan, and that's our main target. Therefore, let's divide all of this 3 times by cos squared x. And this will give us sine squared x divided by cosine squared x plus cosine squared x divided by cosine squared x equal to 1 divided by cosine squared x. From here you can see this is just tan squared x, right? So we can write it as tan squared x, and I want to take this one to the right hand side. So tan squared x will be equal to 1 divided by cosine squared x minus cosine squared x divided by cosine squared x. And since we have common denominators, we can join the numerators together. So tan squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x divided by cosine squared x. So from here we can take the square root of both sides in order to have only tan to the left hand side. So if you take square root of the left hand side, you're going to be left with only tan x, and this is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos squared x. But we can simply find the square root of cos squared x to the denominator. So therefore this becomes plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos x. And hence tan x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos x. But remember that we are looking for this ratio in the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, only cosine and its reciprocal are positive, and all other ratios remain negative. Therefore, we are going to consider tan theta, or tan x, equal to minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos x. Now let us go to the second method. The second method, or second way of doing that. It is obvious that tan x is equal to sine x divided by cos x, right? So the only thing we have to the right hand side that we don't want is sine x. And how can we express sine x in terms of cos x? That's what we are going to do here. Remember that sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. So we can make sine squared x the subject from here. Sine squared x will be equal to 1 minus cosine squared x. And sine x will be equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x. Instead, we can replace sine x with plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x, and we are done. Therefore, tan x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos x. But in the fourth quadrant, remember, this is going to be negative, so we are going to take away the positive sign and leave it like this. And this is the second method. Very simple, right? Now let us move to the last one. Since tan ratio, which is tan x, is equal to sine x divided by cos x, it implies that tan squared x is equal to sine squared x divided by cosine squared x. But remember that sine squared x can be written as 1 minus cosine squared x. Therefore, tan squared x is equal to 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos squared x. And we can take the square root of both sides from here. Therefore, tan x will be equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos squared x. Well, square root of cos squared x is just cos x, and we are looking for this in the fourth quadrant, which we are going to consider as negative. Therefore, tan x will be equal to minus the square root of 1 minus cos squared x divided by cos x. And this is the third method. And this is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye bye.